Neil Harrison from the Bootleg Beatles. Welcome to noise11.com. I've been really excited to get to talk to you, Neil, because you've got such a history with this show, the Bootleg Beatles,
Sure.
that is actually 5 times longer than the Beatles had as the
Worked
Beatles.
it out. Yeah, that is right. It's a lifetime. Let me tell you. Started in 1980. I don't know whether you know the history, but we came out of a show called Beatlemania, which was actually an American Broadway Beatles show that landed in the West End in 1979. And the original cast of the Bootleg Beatles were John, Paul, George, and Ringo in that show. And then quite quickly, it actually folded. So by February 1980, we were going to be made redundant. We'd learned all these songs, and we'd grown our fringes when we could grow them, and we were going to literally just going to go our separate ways. So it was decided. We decided, look, let's give it a go ourselves and just take it on the road, literally just for a bit of fun. I mean, I remember that Paul McCartney, called David at that time, said, "I'll give it 6 months." And so we started off, and we just sort of basically were wearing black polo. We came from the show, which of course had all the costumes and all the guitars, but when we were out on our own, we had to pour all our resources into trying to get the right guitars and costumes and so on. So it was a pretty small a little outfit then, and we were doing working men's clubs and college balls, that sort of thing. But we loved it, and we just got addicted to it. We couldn't give it up. And slowly the word spread. Here was this, I think it wasn't even a tribute band in those days. It was a novelty act, or so. I don't know what the hell they called it. It wasn't, the tribute scene did not exist back in 1980. And so that's sort of how it went. We carried on a bit longer. We get more gigs, and suddenly we end up from over in Russia, would you believe, booked the band for a 6-week tour, the USSR. I mean, that was pretty crazy, playing stadia. So we go from these tiny shows which we were doing in the UK, and we were landing up playing huge arenas in Moscow and Leningrad and stuff.
Wow. Was that before Paul McCartney ever played in Russia?
I think it was. It was, definitely was. I don't think hardly any acts. I think Elton John had been there. That was about it. Him and Ray Cooper. Wasn't even the Elton John band. It was just him and Ray. So we were kind of the first rock bands who played. Get behind the red. That was Brezhnev's time. It was very weird, exciting at the same time. And we did actually. We played our first set of shows in Yalta, which is on the Black Sea, and I don't think they'd expected. I think they sort of, it was going to be like, She Loves You, and that's, and of course then you get into the later Beatle period, and you're playing songs like Helter Skelter and Revolution and stuff, and they didn't like it. And the kids who were at the back of these arenas all started going mad, and in fact they tried to cancel the tour unless we kind of toned it down. It was really odd.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was quite interesting.
The Beatles actually stopped touring around 1966. So there were so many of latter day albums. They never toured Abbey Road. They never toured Revolver. Sure. They never toured Sgt. Pepper. Even Yellow Submarine Magical Mystery Tour. Those songs were never played live by the Beatles.
It's great to be able to play those songs live, and how we do it is actually import an orchestra, and we have string and brass players, so we can do those songs. That makes it great. So you can go from the early stuff, which was all the moment we're doing kind of a tribute to the With the Beatles album, which came out in '63, so it's the 60th anniversary. And then we're doing a Shea Stadium set from '65, and then we move on to '67, and we bring an orchestra on. And you can then play Sergeant Pepper, which has got brass in it. You can play songs like She's Leaving Home, which is a string quartet. You can play A Day in the Life even. So that gives us the opportunity to do that. And then on to the White Album, and then Abbey Road, same thing.
It's interesting that bands can do that now. I did interview George Harrison once in the 1990s, and I asked him about if he ever regretted stopping touring when they did and just becoming a studio band. And his answer was no. If we didn't stop touring, we never would have made Sergeant Pepper. We never would have made Abbey Road. We would have just continued on. So it's interesting that they stopped and created all this work that you can now.
Yeah, we met George. I don't know whether you know this, but we played at Dave Gilmour's 50th, I think it was, and George was there, and so we talked to him afterwards. And he was saying it's quite interesting because, of course, you're playing songs now that we only ever really played once, like Lucy in the Sky, where they'd all learn them and play them, and they'd be recorded, and then they would never visit those songs again. So he was delightful. It's very funny. In fact, talking about, he said, "Who's the bootleg Brian Epstein? Because he's got all the money."
So that's why you became the bootleg Brian.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. What about with the new songs that we've had over the years? Like when Anthology 1 and 2 came out, we were treated to Free as a Bird and Real Love. And now with the new song, Ben, will they ever make their way into the Bootleg Beatles sets?
Well, it's great to have a new, fresh Beatle track, talking about all the Beatles songs we do. It's great to have that. And yes, I think, well, I don't want to say that for sure. I mean, I know the guys are learning it. And we are intending to put it into the set at some point. We've had a string arrangement done. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes down. Is it going to be popular? It's a very sort of mid-tempo song, and it's not been played live, where it might have been, but we're going to play it live in front of audiences, and I'd be interested to see how it goes down.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's a great track.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm not so crazy about the new 2023 remixes though.
Okay, Brian, why is that?
I just think that Giles Martin to the Beatles is Julian Lennon to the Beatles. I think what he's done is made it for young ears with everything centered in the middle. We haven't got all the separation. We haven't got all of the dynamics that we had in the original recordings. And even if you go back to the 2010 remasters, which I think are just probably, my favorite of the lot, in some ways it just doesn't sound right. You listen to Revolution 2023 mix and the scream's not there. I mean, it's there, but it's so mixed out that it has no impact. I Am the Walrus, the whole fade out with the radio at the end. The radio's mixed up so high it drowns out the music.
Yeah.
And I don't know what those bongos in A Hard Day's Night are meant to be.
I do. Do you know what? I've never enjoyed those bongos. I know that they're mixed way down, but I mean, if they're mixed anyhow, we try to do that on stage, and I find it really interferes with the track. So I kind of, you don't need them really. I don't know why they were put there in the first place.
No,
but I mean, those tracks, I listen to those, all the Beatles stuff. I mean, I missed out on Love Me Do, but basically, as each record came out, me and my brother actually bought them. So, I went through the whole thing. That's how old I am. And
not far behind you.
And you can't beat, the sound of those mono mixes. Actually, I do love the impact of that. Very high volume on a jukebox or something. It's the most brilliant sound.
Yeah.
And so I get what you're saying about that. When you pull it apart, dissect it like that, it's not going to sound the same. And it doesn't have that same impact.
Yeah. So you've had famous faces in the crowd, David Gilmour, George Harrison. You've also had Paul McCartney see this show, haven't you? And not only Paul McCartney, Sir Paul McCartney, but the lady who made him Sir Paul McCartney, the Queen.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Queen has
that's
been
right.
to the show
That's
too.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Yeah, we did. We started that actually. We were first on, and he was the last. I do remember at one point we were getting ready, and we got a little note from him. It wasn't, well, it was from his crew or something saying, "Don't play Hey Jude."
Yeah.
Right. Okay. 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 Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah. So yeah, we a lot of people have seen us, and even, I mean, Phil Collins, actually, we played Phil Collins's again. I think it was probably his 50th birthday, and he came on stage, a big party. George Martin was there, strange enough, and we sang with him on stage.
wow.
And it's ever filmed, but yeah, he did quite a few. He loves the Beatles. He loved it, and he was a big fan of us. That's why he booked us for his birthday. Yeah.
And fun fact, I think it was 8 or 9 year old Phil Collins is actually in A Hard
Yeah,
Day's.
he is in the audience. Yeah, he is. He is.
Yeah. One of the other achievements that you've had with this group was playing 3 Savile Row, the rooftop where
Mhm.
Beatles
Mhm.
filmed the Let It Be / Get Back movie
Sure.
all those years ago. Did you do the exact same set list when you were up there? How did that work?
Yeah, I think we did actually. Do you know what? I can't remember now. I mean, all the main ones. Don't Let Me Down was in there. Get Back was in there. One After 909, I remember doing. I'm not sure we did Dig a Pony actually, but we did other songs. I think we did Revolution actually as well, which is not authentic, but it's late period Beatles stuff. But nobody else. I mean, like literally after that, that was stopped. It was owned by a company that, and they did a deal with the Bootleg Beatles where they let us on the roof to do this. It was the 30th anniversary of the Beatles appearing up there, and if we did a corporate gig for them for nothing.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that was the deal. And since then, no band's been allowed up there. I think U2 tried to get up there at one stage. So I think apart from the Beatles, it was the Bootleg Beatles, and that was it. So that's one accolade for us. Yeah.
Well, we know what happened with the Beatles and the police turning up and trying to shut it down. I think they did shut it down in the end, as is documented in the Get Back movie. So, how was it possible that you could get up there, knowing that when the Beatles did exactly the same thing, they were shut down for making too much noise?
I can't answer that question. I mean, like I say, it was done via this company that owned the building, and they allowed us to go up there. And maybe our set was slightly shorter, I don't know, but we certainly, we would have loved the police to come up there and, pull the plug. You know what I mean? It would have been brilliant, but it didn't happen actually. We just did it. We did our show, and that was that. But the same reaction, people in the street were looking up, people in the offices across the road were at the windows open, people on the roof. It was really hilarious to see it all. And you really did feel like a Beatle when you're doing it.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were very privileged actually.
Yes. Well, you get to play in clubs around Australia over coming weeks, so that's going to be fun as well.
Sure.
So looking forward to that happening again just 3 weeks after Sir Paul McCartney was touring Australia. So
yes, that's right.
That's 2 Beatles shows we've had in the last month.
Well, and we're going to get the same amount of people, I'm sure. Cool.
Well, enjoy your time in Australia.
Thank you.
And the Bootleg Beatles at various places up and down the coast. So thank you, Neil, for joining us here at Noise 11.
It's a pleasure. It's nice to meet you.